and lots of love, and thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. Okay, so just as we begin, yes, wonderful. So today's topic, what was the topic? Yeah, comparison. Today's topic being about when we sit in comparison. Again, as we lead life, something or the other happens outside, and immediately our attention is drawn to someone or somewhere where somebody has more than what we have. Or maybe a few times somebody has less than what we have. And immediately we get into this mode of comparison. When it's something less, when somebody has something less than what we have, most of the times we will be there, in thankfulness mode, saying, okay, thank God, I have a little bit more than this. At least thank God that I'm taken care of to this much extent, or at least I'm not in his place. Oh my God. And then sometimes just from that space of comparison, that they don't have what you have, you might even get into the energies of guilt, of feeling guilty that you have what you have and the rest of the world doesn't have what you have. It's so beautiful that most of the NGOs, when they're trying to do their fundraising, they're actually trying to put you into the guilt frequency. I used to be the one who used to constantly sit in that frequency, so I know. But they will put you into this guilt frequency. And in that guilt frequency, you'll be like, okay, I cannot give time. I cannot do this. I cannot do that. At least I can give a little bit of money. We've spoken about money many a time, saying that even if you have to give, even if you want to give, no matter what you want to do in the action, firstly, action is of so little relevance. But even if you wish to give something to someone, just simply take a look at the energy. Are you feeling guilty? Are you weighed down by how much you have and how little somebody else has? If you are weighed down by that, as you give to this person, you will give to this person and they will receive something or the other from you. And as they receive, what will you receive more of? Well, because it's your energy of guilt that's at play, so you will receive more of guilt, even through an act which would look like it appeases your guilt. It should make your guilt lower. Now you've done something for the society, you've done something for a person or for a group of people. It should actually take your guilt lower, you would think. But no, it doesn't, because whatever is the energy that we are sitting in, that is the energy that we are growing through this experience, through every action. If we haven't taken a look at the energy underneath, then we are simply growing the more of the same. And so I remind you many a times that even as you're out there to help someone, if you are trying to help someone from helplessness, or if you're trying to help someone from guilt or from powerlessness, you are simply making more of the same experiences for yourself. Go out, do everything in masti. When you have to give to somebody, instead of using the powerless or the helpless frequency, use the masti frequency. And then you will find that whether you give or you don't give, your masti will grow a little bit more, grow a lot bit more. So that is the part when somebody has less, and then, these are the kind of emotions that we come up with. However, that's not the most prevalent part. The most prevalent part is when we look outside and now we are like, oh, they too have this and we too don't have this. So we sit in this place of, when will I get this? Why isn't this happening to me? When would it happen to me? And they've already got this. When am I going to get mine? Whether, let's say, at work, it's a promotion or it's a bonus, and you're like, that person has already got a bonus and I deserve it so much more than he does. And yet I haven't got it and they've got it. And now we will try and find every reason on the outside. We will talk about, we will talk about how there's partiality at workplace. We'll talk about how there is discrimination here and there. And we will then become more and more finger outside with this place of, okay, all of this is happening to me because of these other people. Everything that is happening, all the wrong things that are happening to me at work are only happening because of this boss who favors that other person more, this other person who favors this, I don't know, he belongs to a certain religion and he favors his own religion people more. We can just distribute and go into these mind games and stories in 1,000 different ways. We can keep creating these outside stories and staying in them. And the more we stay in them, and each time we fall into this comparison place, what is going to happen? Well, it's very clear, right? If somebody else is giving to somebody else and we are not receiving what is rightfully ours, it's going to aggravate you a lot, going to cause a lot of resentment in you. It is going to make you, make you cringe from inside. That's what resentment does, and feel so angry, but you can't show the anger. You think you can't show the anger and you suppress it and you keep moving in your day. Well, suppressed anger isn't suppressed at all when we are looking at it from the energy perspective. I remind all of you each time, 1% body, 99% energy. It is our energy that decides on an experience. The body, the 1%, gets to experience it. So as we are experiencing resentment, to be able to understand that this resentment is not caused by that other person. This aggravated state, angry state of our minds is not caused by the other person. Okay. Manjeet ji, can you please mute yourself? Let me go look and mute them. Are they muted now? I'm going to mute everybody who's not muted. Okay. All right. The aggravated state is not caused by an outside. The aggravated state, the angry state, the resentful state is actually what is causing more and more of these experiences. So we now learn to look inwards and to actually be able to dissect and to see, okay, what frequency of mine is creating more of this in the outside universe? What frequency of mine can I right now look at, observe, and then therefore begin the process of shifting? When we hold that much resentment towards an outside world, whenever, no matter what the stories are, but when we hold that much resentment and we think that we are suppressing it, we are smiling on the face of it, we are looking very happy for the other person, whatever it is, we think our acting skills are going to take us forward. But the 99% energy that we are, there's a separation in the body. Their body is separate from my body. A 1% is separate from 1%, but the energy that is the 99% of mine is totally mingling with the 99% of theirs. There is no separation. There are no drawn lines to separate my energy from their energy. And so when I'm sitting in resentment and I'm sending so much resentment towards them, they are totally receiving all of it, whatever I'm sending. I'm sending smiles, but that's the 1%. The 1% is sending smiles. And then the rest of the 99% is sending anger and resentment and all kinds of hate. And if that is the case, then that is also reaching over there. And what happens as it is reaching over there? They are nothing but mirrors to you. In your universe, they're simply performing the job of a mirror. So now what is their job? To be able to reflect all of that grown resentment and all of that grown anger back at you. So how will it reflect back? Well, another story will come up. Another story will come up through which they will be able to reflect that resentment of yours back at you. Even if they are not available to do the job, let us say you move to another place, you move to another workplace, and you are no longer sitting in that same space, However, that energy that you hold, that you are sending out, it becomes a part of your energy transmission. And so as you hold that energy of resentment, whoever 1% floats in will also be receiving your energy. It will be receiving your energy. And from there, their script will become to show you more of the same. The scenarios, people get very stuck on, no, this is happening at work. Home is completely okay. Yeah, it's okay today, but if you're already being shown what energies you are holding, that energy might shift to home tomorrow. Energy doesn't have bifurcations, even in the terms of this is home space and this is office space and this is my playground. No, it works exactly in the same way. Anyone would pick up, whoever is resonating at that frequency, whoever is also getting an experience out of the same scenario is going to come into your universe, and there will be a two-way give and take, the two-way give and take of experiences. If they wish to experience something through you, you will have that role being given by their energy. And so your energy is going to give them the resentment role, the aggravation role. And you will suddenly find that this, I just left that old workplace behind, and over there the boss was so bad and this and that. But over here the colleagues are so sad. The colleagues are so bad. It's not about the colleagues, it's not about the boss, it's not about your partner, it's not about your spouse. It is totally only about you. And so when we make comparisons, when we make comparison to anybody outside, it is going to be very much the case of holding resentment. Even when we see some people and they have such a beautiful love life, and then you're suddenly looking at it and feeling like, oh my God, they have so much and they have everything that they could ask for. They have a loving husband, they have 5 loving children. Yeah. दूर के ढोल ना बहुत सुहावने लगते हैं. So they have all the loving children and all of that stuff. However, now what is the experience that looking at them and looking at that loving family is creating for you? The experience is actually again creating resentment for you, sadness and lack. Resentment because you are now resenting your own spouse, your own children, saying, mine don't do anything. Mine don't even do anything for Mother's Day, Father's Day, or whatever. Or even if they do, how much the other person's much the other person's children did. So when we are sitting with that kind of a comparison, again, we are building on that resentment, on that anger. And then as we simply look at that, underneath that anger, there is also lack. I don't have enough, and the rest of the world seems to have more than what I have. So lack is constantly being created. From the lack, within the lack, when you sit, again, more and more is going to be shown to you. Underneath the lack also, even when we are resenting something as to what everybody has, underneath that lack is this program of ours, which we might want to take a look at. And the program is very simple. We've talked about it 100 times, but that the universe is not playing in my favor. The universe hasn't given me what I wanted. The universe is giving to everybody else what I wanted. I'm the only one not receiving it. The universe doesn't love me. God doesn't love me. I'm the only one over here who's devoid, who's been deprived of things, of resources. And so my life is not happy. Through that unhappy state, that unhappiness that you are carrying, that resentment towards the world at large that you are carrying, there is this underlying belief that the universe is not playing in your favor. And then, of course, since we've been with MPFI and you've been listening to me for about 100 days and more, so now the only thing is to be able to look at that program. Is that program serving me? Is that program serving me at all? When I say that the universe is not playing in my favor, and I come so strongly from that belief that everything in the universe happens for other people's benefit and never to mine, are we getting served in the body through that program? Obviously not, because what would we like to experience? Most of us wish to experience abundance. Most of us do wish to experience ease. or grace. And we want, if all of them, then even better. But to understand that the ease, grace, abundance is all first manufactured within for it to be showing up outside. In your life, if it's difficult for you to look at something and find ease and grace in it, then understand that it's your perspective that needs to change first for the ease and grace to come more and more to you. And how to change the perspective? Yes, it changes through thought. But apart from that, I always do offer saying, take energy from me. It is the easiest answer. I sit in a place, I sit in a frequency where abundance is seen, and no matter how bad things are looking on the outside, I always feel the core of me underneath everything. I might even not be sitting in a equanimity space in the very moment that an experience plays out, and that's okay, because we are allowed to experience every experience. We talk about this and we say the first reaction doesn't need to change. It is how quickly you will bring in the second response. The first reaction might be of frustration, of anger, of whatever it is that you are sitting with resentment, sadness, lack, anything. It could be your first reaction. And we don't judge the first reaction. Why? Because it's simply a frequency. So even if you're sitting in comparison and that's giving rise to so much jealousy, that is simply a frequency. It's just a frequency. And so we will not judge, oh, why did we even go and sit in jealousy at all? It's in the air. We tuned into the channel, and that's all the answer that is needed for us. But we tuned into it. How much awareness do we hold that we will be able to look at it? Oh, I'm experiencing the frequency of jealousy. This is my frequency of jealousy that is coming up. And then simply to be able to work on releasing that frequency, tuning into another channel. For that, you have the Meenal frequency channel. I take energy from Meenal. I am Meenal. And the more and more you do that, the first step, of course, being that you are able to look at the frequency that you're operating from. And if that frequency is resentment and jealousy, when are you able to catch it? And when are you able to put the finger back within? Absolutely, awareness stays the first step at all times. If you are not aware, if the finger is outside, you might even be taking energy from Meenal, but something or the other will keep playing out again and again. It only plays out again and again because the only way to let go of everything and to change your experiences in totality is to look inwards, is to look within. And so till the time the finger is outside on a situation, on a boss, on a colleague, on a spouse, on children, till the time the finger is outside, the work still remaining is, when are you going to bring it back over here? And so with this question of, but what will I do outside? You tell me I look within, but it's impossible to live another day in this situation, and I don't have anything, I don't have any resources. And again, as I mentioned, if you are feeling the lack of resources, if you are feeling the lack of any resource, lack of love, lack of time, lack of money, and that is where all the comparisons are arising from, then the first thing to do would be to look within, to recognize the lack frequency itself. Actions can be any. You can go, you can leave this workplace, you can leave this spouse, you can put your children to college, you can put them to a hostel, you can do anything. But the lack frequency will stay with you if you haven't observed, if you haven't recognized, it's just a frequency, but this one is my frequency. As soon as you recognize something as your own, it becomes the first step that, it's your own. So you can, if it's your own, you can do whatever you want with it. You can release it, you can keep it, you can shift it, you can transform it. If everything has to be done outside, this one needs to change and that one needs to change, for me to feel good about this, it doesn't work that way. Even if you got, no matter what you're comparing yourself to, somebody has a 2-bedroom house and you have a 1-bedroom one, and now you're comparing and you're sitting in this, and you will find that, okay, chalo, you worked a lot hard and you did everything, and then you got yourself that 2-bedroom house. Once you get yourself the 2-bedroom house, you think you're going to sit with ease and grace and say, thank you so much. This was amazing. Yes, you'll do that. You'll do that for a couple of days. And then something else will show up. Someone else will show up. And then there will be the comparison again, because that's what the comparison does. Underneath it is simply lack, and it'll keep showing up again and again in some way or another. So as you take on my frequency, the frequency of abundance, even in the worst of situations, there will be a floating thought. Some kind of thought will come, which will be about gratitude to the situation. Gratitude is such an amazing answer when you're feeling the comparison. Gratitude for whatever you have. In the middle again, yeah, I have this, but I still want that. Understand that frequencies are so easily changed. They're so easily changed. 1 minute in gratitude, another second in lack. But if you've gone in lack in 1 second, it doesn't mean you have to pause over there for more than 5. The minute you become aware, come back to gratitude frequency again. So many times people call me, I'm trying to give gratitude. I'm trying to give so much gratitude. But you know what? I mean, I keep feeling, when am I going to get it? Yeah, because in one moment you sat in gratitude and the next moment your frequency changed back to lack again. So of course, it's going to give you those similar kind of thoughts that you were having earlier. But you brought in, through your awareness, you brought in gratitude. Through your awareness, you can bring in gratitude 100 times. That's how much easier how easily the frequencies change. They change 100 times in a day. They change 100 times. So if they are going to change 100 times, are you going to go sit over there on the lack frequency and make that your home? Or are you going to simply get up from there and try to make this new home in the gratitude frequency? I do understand, it's just so beautiful because this play of comparisons, it happens to everyone. As a matter of fact, just a few months ago, I would have even spoken about it, about how when I was looking at moving into a new house, and I already stayed in an amazing place. I stayed in such a beautiful place in Mumbai. It was sea facing. It was beautiful. For 15 years, I stayed there and I loved every moment of those 15 years. But then money said, okay, abhi chalne ka time aaya. We have to move from there. And as we had to move from there, I worked on myself. I worked on my relationship parts, because I was very, very close. I am very, very close to the landlady. And then I felt a whole lot of responsibility towards her, because she always takes my help in doing whatever next steps have to be taken, and she listens to me. And I was like, oh my God, if I move away, who's going to give her that advice or that guidance? And so, of course, the work had come on me. It was nothing to do with guidance. It was just that I had taken on some doership, and doership was showing up. However, as I moved and I told Mani, show me a few places, the first place that he showed me, the first place was just absolutely, absolutely gorgeous. And it was amazing. And then when I asked, okay, how much is the rent for this one? The rent was double. And immediately I knew that I can't afford this rent. I cannot be in this house. And as soon as this happened, there was this one thought, when am I going to get to live in some such house? When, and suddenly in that one moment, in that one flash moment, I forgot all about the beautiful place. I forgot all about, how much fun I've had. But now that I'm moving out and I like this house, and in guidance, the answer came, no, this is not the house that you're going to get. The guidance was very clear. This is not the house that you're going to get. And as soon as that happened, I was like, why did you even show it to me? Like, when am I going to live in such a house and all of that? It happened for about 3 minutes. And I was immediately able to see that as soon as I was saying these things, the frequency that I had tuned into was disappointment, which happens when you compare something and say, oh my God, this is so much more beautiful than what was here and what was there. And now I want something more beautiful. The minute you're thinking of getting something more, already lack frequency is here and you are sitting in comparisons. And that's where I sat. But thankfully, awareness hits a few times. And so I knew that if I'm feeling disappointed from this comparison, then the work has come on me. The work has not come that I try to fix ways and try to find ways to put myself into this house, which suddenly looks so beautiful. The work has simply come to release attachment, whatever I have formed in these last 10 minutes. That's all. I see the house. I never knew there was a house like this. I never knew it existed, but as soon as I see it, now I've got an attachment hook on it. And that's what happens when we are constantly comparing ourselves to others. What are we attached to? We are attached to some outcome. We need to have a 2 BHK. We need to have a bigger car. We need to have 3 children, whatever it is that we are looking for. Now we have an attachment to outcome, which is exactly what had happened to me. It was an attachment to outcome. I would really love to be in this house. And it was so cute because how beautifully when you are sitting in these frequencies, and then I tell everybody the game of awareness is absolutely every single day. It's every single moment, no matter how many times you have sat in the enlightened space, no matter how much, how much awareness you have at any given point in time. All it takes is one moment here and another moment there. Now, are you going to settle in that moment, or are you going to be able to bring back yourself to this other moment, which was all about looking within, and this was looking outside? So in one moment, I shifted from looking within to looking at the house. As soon as I looked at the house, now there was all of the disappointment and comparison. And then I, thankfully, as soon as I came into the awareness space, and the job is not that, okay, can I do something to get this house? Can I do something to manifest this house? The only job is to let go of attachment, whatever the hook is in the moment. So for me, the hook was that of the house. So I immediately let go of the attachment, said, Are, how did I get into this space of being attached to a place? And that too, all it took was 5 minutes. But that's how the game works. The game in the energies is not, it doesn't take time. So when you're looking at the game of the energies, everything just moves forward quickly. And so as soon as I sat into that space and said, wow, and I'm now trying to manifest the house. Wow, that must be really some kind of a deep lack that I tuned into in just 5 minutes. And so when we worked on the lack, and then I simply, as I sat in guidance, the only guidance that came was Masti. Masti. You are the holder of Masti, not the house, not this house, not that house. I am the holder of Masti. And so wherever I go, that place will be filled with Masti, whether this house, whether that house, whether another place. If my frequency is that of Masti, then that is all that will happen. So what is it that we have to do? The only job that we have to do is to keep ourselves in Masti. And what does Masti mean? The only definition of Masti, as I've understood, when is Masti inside in the heart? When there is no attachment to outcome. When there is no attachment to outcome, ye bhi badhiya aur wo bhi badhiya. If I move here, it's great. If I don't move here, that is great as well. And so when we sit in this equanimity, which is where Masti is, when we sit in equanimity to anything, if this is there, fabulous. If this is not there, fabulous, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you to the universe for giving it to me. And thank you to the universe for not giving it to me. So when we sit in that space of thankfulness, then the frequency itself makes a shift. Our job is not to keep saying, okay, now the frequency has made a shift. This happens all the time, okay? We are looking within, and then suddenly the frequency makes a shift. You're like, okay, now my frequency has shifted. Will I get what I wanted? As soon as that other thought comes, will I get what I wanted? That thought itself is from that same old frequency. You understand? The only thing that I'm trying to tell you is 1 minute here, 1 minute there, 1 second here, and the next second there. Is there any outcome that you are tying yourself to? Our only job is to take a look at outcomes and to let them go. Outside outcomes will always constantly only create lack in us through comparison, through looking outside, through looking at something that we don't have. We'll always be in that place. The richest people on earth, if you ask them, is there everything that you have? They'll come up with something that they don't have. They'll come up with time. I don't have time. I don't have health. I don't have love. Something or the other will come up. So it's the frequency of lack, and it has nothing to do with money. So anyways, I was talking about my own scenario, how I quickly moved from sitting in abundance to sitting in lack in just a few seconds. But then again, because we are aware, so then we also moved back to abundance. As soon as the abundance comes, the comparatives go. Who's staying in those houses? What are those kind of people living like? And, when will I get to live like that? Wherever I live, it's going to be joy. It's going to be masti. And that's it. All the questions end because you know that you are the frequency, and you are the frequency of joy and masti, because you can be. You can tune into any frequency. And so I choose at all times to tune into, whenever the choice is given, I choose the frequency of masti. And so what happened then? The answer had come. The answer had come that this house doesn't belong to me. And I also understand that the answer was very much no, so that I could look within and clear myself. But as soon as I cleared myself, what happened? The frequency shifted. The frequency shifted. In that old frequency where I was sitting in lack and comparing and crying and whining, I did it for 3 minutes, 5 minutes. However, you might be doing it for a little bit more. And so I'm narrating all those emotions. They didn't happen in so much flourished manner, the whining and the complaining or whatever. It was a 5 minute, 3 minute thing. However, if you are whining and complaining about something, that which you desire is not going to happen in that frequency. And even if it happens, there is going to be no closure at that place. That will just keep moving forward and moving forward, coming as another lack, another fear, another lack. So when we simply let go of the frequency and come into equanimity and come into gratitude and thankfulness, at that point in time, whatever shift in the frequencies that happens, whatever creation that happens from the frequency of joy, masti, abundance. It happened. I didn't even know it was going to happen, how it was going to happen. I actually, after that, I didn't even care if it happened or didn't happen. And then as it moved forward, well, a couple of months later, we came into the house. The very house that I was told no. In guidance, very categorically, I was told no. And so to understand that the guidance is only for that moment, for the moment that you are sitting in on that frequency. Guidance can be longer if you're not going to work within, but as soon as we receive guidance, and if we are aware, we will simply, even as we receive the guidance, did I get disappointed when I received the guidance? No, yes, I got disappointed. But then even without receiving any further guidance, this guidance is already with me, that if it is my frequency of disappointment, I got to work on my frequency of disappointment. That's it. Wherever disappointments are, I simply just work on my frequencies of disappointment. And how do I work on that? Well, just as I said, I bring myself to gratitude. Whatever is there, I've forgotten how much I have. In that 1 minute, everything goes out the window. And so simply bring it back to the next minute and come back to the frequency of gratitude. That's my session today on comparison. Does anybody have questions? Please, if I've missed out on something, if you feel that comparison is fueling some people think that if I don't compare, if I don't compare, how will I get a better life? How will I become better at what I am doing? How will I progress further? How will I do, if I don't learn more, then will I not be stagnant? Will I not just be in one place and not moving at all? Again, when you're in the role even of a CEO, no matter what the role is, if you're in the role of a CEO, please do understand that you're already Shiva. You're already the creator in the tiny little role of a CEO. So everything that you know or need to know is there for you. It will come to you. And everything that you don't need to know, it will be released when you are sitting in awareness. It will automatically be released because it's not needed for you. I tell people I sit in blankness most days, except for these few kind of days when one thought will come in, then I'll catch that thought and then I'll be able to move out of there, speed of pronto. But that's the only play that happens, that mostly sitting in blankness, mostly being able to observe, and everything happens. Everything happens in that blankness. Work gets done, and whatever it is, whether it's an office work or something, all gets done, but without any machinery churning over here. No machinery. This stays blank. Whatever needs to be done is done in a very thoughtless kind of way. Okay, this needs to be done. This is it. Whether it will happen, whether it will not happen, how will it happen? Those thoughts are not even being entertained. When I start to entertain, okay, whether this will happen or not, I have a very simple answer. If it has to happen, it'll happen. Simply, that's it. I don't take on doership. I have to do it. If I don't do it, who will do it, etc., etc. If it has to happen in my energies, it will happen. And I bring myself back to Masti most of the times, because Masti is the most fun place of creation. So everything happens, whatever needs to happen, happens from the place of Masti. When it doesn't happen from the place of Masti, and I can see that I'm struggling, I don't have Masti within, and yet something outside is happening. In those moments, I try to stay most guided. Okay, should I do this? Should I not do this? Because already right now there is no Masti. It could be, sometimes the body is giving up. There is some external shifts happening in the body. Sometimes I'm unwell. Sometimes something else is the problem. And in those moments, I'm not feeling the Masti, or at least I don't want to do the Masti outside as I would have done otherwise. And when that moment comes, okay, should I be doing something? Should I not be doing something? My obvious answer would be, no, I don't want to do anything. I'm too tired. I'm tired right now. There are some shifts happening in the body. I am too tired. And yet, even through this tiredness, I simply become aware and I say, okay, my obvious answer would be not to do it. But then I ask money and guidance saying, okay, what do you want me to do? And then whatever is the answer, I'm good with it. I bring myself to the place that, okay, I don't understand why, but this must be needed. It must be needed by my energy, must be needed in the play, in the natak that's happening outside. But if it's needed, and if money says so, let's just leave it to him. If I'm not feeling well and money says that do something, when I do it, because I'm listening to money, I have 100% of the times notice that he will make it happen effortlessly, whether I have to stand in front of an audience for an hour and I don't have any energy to do that, and yet from 1 minute to the next, right now no energy, and I ask money, what is it I have to do? And he says, you have to stand in front of the audience. Well, I go and stand in front of the audience. And from there, automatically, that energy is given to me, as much as needed is given to me for taking that forward. Over here, we are moving towards guidance, more and more towards guidance, keeping ourselves empty. And when in emptiness, one or two thoughts come, and if those thoughts are of comparison, I immediately get it that, okay, from abundance, I have moved my frequency to lack. And so we just keep moving. Not even judging as to why we are sitting in lack. Why have we come back to lack again? It's just a frequency. If it's just a frequency, I can play in it. I can play in it for a few minutes, and I will again ask, is there anything? I will ask money, is there anything that I need to learn in this scenario? Is there anything that you want me to do, money, in this scenario? What is my learning? And then the answers come in guidance, and then we are able to follow those answers. I see a few chat messages. कितनी प्यारी, कितना प्यार, बहुत सुंदर लग रही थी. Thank you, Leela. Okay, looking too gorgeous. Thank you, Lalita. Okay, and then how to address insecurity and mistrust. How to sit in blankness. Okay, So firstly, we will address how to address insecurity and mistrust. Insecurity is simply your fear. That's all. So, I talk about it every single time, but if you're new here or if you're forgetting, but fear, as I just said about lack, fear is just a frequency. So when we start to look into the topics of insecurity, oh my God, this fellow might leave me, this person might, my job might not be there with me tomorrow. Now we are simply making the job or this person as a tool for my insecurity. They are the tools through which my insecurity is playing out. But who does that fear belong to? That fear frequency in this moment belongs to me. In this moment, because when you're operating from fear machinery, all the thoughts, no matter which direction your thoughts take in that moment, it could be about your boyfriend, girlfriend, it could be about your anything, it will always come from fear. Those thoughts at that moment will be all about fear. When you are sitting in love, when you are sitting in joy, then the same people, when you think about them, those disturbing thoughts will not come, because the underneath machinery right now is not of fear. In the moment, it is of joy. And so something joyful will come about the same people. They might even be giving you some joyful news, or even as you just think. Why? Because all of the machinery underneath is what decides the flow of thoughts. So when you're saying how to deal with insecurity or fears, then or mistrust is a frequency, again, arising from fear. You mistrust somebody else and you fear that they will hurt you, they will harm you. Whose fears are these? They are your fears. However, the good news is that they might be your fears, but they are simply tools. Those people, those events, those incidences that are leading you to mistrust, that are leading you to sit in fear frequencies, are leading you to sit in insecurities, those are simply tools. The frequency belongs to you, and so you can do something about it. What can you do? You can release. I teach the candle process to release. So if you're looking for that process, just simply type in on my channel positivity process, and you'll come across a couple of videos on the positivity process. You can take a look at it. It's a very simple way to release. And in that, what are we doing? The first step is to recognize that it's just a frequency. Insecurity, no matter how great it is, it's just a frequency. And from one frequency to another, you can shift. A television can move from one channel to another, just like that. Just the way it moves here, the same way it can move here as well. And that's where awareness is needed. Awareness is needed every few hours. Okay, we were sitting in mistrust in the morning and we moved. Are we again gone back to mistrust, or are we still sitting in the trust frequency? And you will know wherever your thoughts have been for the last couple of hours. Take a look. You will know underneath them whatever is your emotion. If it has moved to trust and joy, fabulous. But if there's any place that is still mistrust, well, take that candle out again, do the positivity process again. Because from here to here, if you've gone once and you've gone back here, well, do the same process to come back to frequencies of joy and masti. The other one, how to sit in blankness. So I teach people how to take guidance. And when you take guidance, many people, they don't receive guidance. They simply go blank for those 1 or 2 minutes when they are sitting in the frequency of Meenal and they're asking the one question, what is important for me to know today? They're asking so in guidance, and many of them come back and say, I don't know, the guidance is not working because I keep going into blankness. I don't get an answer. And I laugh because actually the blankness that they are experiencing is the final answer. It's the final answer. The blankness is the space of enlightenment. The blankness is where you have no thought. You have no thought. Whatever the thoughts are, you've looked at them, you've processed them, you've released them, you've understood them, that it's just a frequency. You can move from one place to another without any problem. And the more and more you begin to understand this, the more and more your blankness grows. Earlier, when people come to me and say we're experiencing blankness while we sit in guidance, so I think they're not going to do it because it's not working. And I say, no, sit in it more and more, grow that period. You'll be blank for a few minutes. As you begin to ask the question, nothing comes to you. You might go blank for a few minutes, and then one thought will come. But now, because you're operating from a zero space and going into one thought, even if that zero space was a few minutes, but now you're going into the thought, you will immediately be able to recognize, okay, where is this thought coming from? Which frequency? This thought that has just come into me. For example, you are sitting in blankness and sitting for 2 minutes, and suddenly one thought will come. Arey, did I leave the gas on? That's it. One tiny little thought. Did I leave the gas on? But because it's from 0 to 1 thought, you might be able to see that, oh, this thought is coming from fear frequency. And so instead of running to check whether the gas stove is on or not, all you actually need to do is to recognize the frequency and to release the fear, Blankness is a state that you become more and more in that state as your mind starts to empty. As you empty, everything will begin to just flow. You will not be taken into fears. You will be able to observe those fears. You will not be taken into worries, because even the first response can be anything. But as the first response moves to the second one will happen quickly. And you will be able to see that, okay, I'm coming from worry, and now can I shift to masti? And if you are operating in the awareness space, and I have many, many different videos of how to become more aware, how to grow your awareness a little bit more, you can go through, there's almost about 200 videos now and on all kinds of topics, but you can go through many of the meditations or go through some of those topics, and something will appeal to you. And there is one topic on blankness itself. So you can go look at that topic, that webinar, in a more detailed way. But as we said, what is blankness? Blankness by itself is just the absence of all frequencies. So when you're not in this frequency, not even in the joy frequency, you're just blank. In a moment, joyfulness will happen, and you will be joyful in that moment. In a moment, anger will happen, and you'll be angry in that moment, and then able to see your anger and let it go. Somebody asked, Manjari asks, when you want to change your frequency, sometimes it's kind of support, you're putting your finger within. When you physically take help from the external, outside, example, going for a walk, retail therapy, just picking up the phone to talk to a positive person, does it help changing our frequency, or is it just a misplaced notion or imagination? As soon as you are able to move to a more positive person, oh, it'll change your frequency. It'll totally change your frequency when you're talking to someone and you're feeling joyful about it and you're discussing something. And then let us say you're feeling, there's a discussion where you could just be venting. If venting happens, it doesn't change the frequency, because venting is just you complaining and going deeper and deeper into complaint. However, if that person is giving you suggestions, if that person is giving you guidances, and you're able to change you're able to feel a bit more joyful at the end of that conversation, that's your frequency. Your frequency has changed. However, the fun part about all of this is like that. So when you're taking help from somebody outside, and then your frequency has changed and they've helped you change your frequency, and now you put down the phone, and now where are you? 5 minutes later, where are you? 10 minutes later, 2 hours later, where are you? So that game is all about awareness. What am I feeling? What am I feeling? That's all there is to it. When you are able to catch it yourself, outside, becomes kind of inconsequential. I want my retail therapy to change my mood. Okay, for those 2 hours, it'll be changed while you are doing the retail therapy. It'll totally be changed. You're really enjoying it. You come back home, you show everybody whatever you've bought and had such a good time buying. Maybe that day is all good. Next day, is it going to continue with you? Or are you going out for more retail therapy? And are you going out for more retail therapy? What is it that is going to bring you back to the center? Is awareness. The awareness that this is just a frequency and I can shift it. That's where the game is. When you're able to recognize, okay, so I've been sitting in fear for the past 40 years. Okay, it's just a frequency. It's a channel I've watched for 40 years. Doesn't mean that I'm married to the channel. I can change the frequency. I can change the channel. Okay. When I see poor people who have far less than me, sometimes not even basic facilities, I feel guilty for my privileges. How does one make peace with gross inequalities? Oh, if you're carrying guilt as a frequency within you into that much extent, then you simply just release your guilt. I think we started off by this. I think I already answered this one, unless you went off to sleep again, which is what you've been doing for the last few times. So if you went off to sleep, then we already covered it. You can watch it. It's all about recognizing the frequency that people are putting you into. So when you watch this and when you watch that, and this is gross inequality, well, sure, but aren't they Shiva? Have they not chosen their experience? If you are thinking of them as so poor and helpless, it's not their helplessness that you're tuning into. You're tuning into your own helplessness and your own guilt. How do you make peace with it? So many different ways. But the first step to making peace is in recognizing what frequency you are at. If the frequency is of guilt, and you give away everything that you have. And I'm not speaking from theory. I used to give away all my salary, everything, all my years as a banker, and I made crores and crores. And I used to sit in so much of this, oh my God, I have so much, whatever I had, I used to always feel I have so much. And I didn't recognize that I was feeling I have so much, even though the bank account has barely got 1 month's salary in it. Why do I keep feeling I have so much? Because I'm tuned into abundance on that side. But abundance was leading me to feel also this other frequency that I was tuned into, which was guilt. And so what would I do? Every time I got my salary, I would keep whatever is needed for me, and I would simply distribute the rest of it. Out of 27 years of working as an investment banker, I had so little to show for it in terms of a bank account. However, did my guilt drop just because I was always giving? Did my guilt drop? No, it didn't. Did my, feeling sorry for those people drop? No. Did I recognize that they were all Shivas? Of course not. So that part happened only when I moved to an aware journey, to recognize and to be able to see the power in the other, and to be able to see the power of their costume. The costume that they have on right now is for receiving experiences in that drama, in that illusionary play. And so when I am able to see their power and the power of their costume, I could be giving them exactly as I gave before. But this time, I'm no longer giving them from the helplessness frequency that belongs to me. I have already come to the place of power, recognizing that I am Shiva and they are Shiva too. Now, whether I give, don't give, do something as an action, give away my whole salary, keep my whole salary, all of these are actions, and all of these are okay. Everything is okay when it comes to actions. It is the frequency that I always tell people to look into. Okay. So, all right, wonderful. People are loving it, the explanations. Can I ask Can I ask in guidance to help me come in awareness most often whenever needed? Yes, you can surely ask in guidance to help come in awareness. You can surely ask. And awareness, what is awareness? Awareness is simply one thought. Awareness is simply one thought. Looking within is simply a thought. So that thought might come. It might even be coming already. But when the thought comes, you will have to make a little bit of, call towards it, at least in the initial places, to be able to act from that thought. We grow our awareness through this. We grow. What you're asking for is that, when I become so surrendered, that no matter what the play is, can I be aware? I totally play in it. I right now play in that, to be constantly in surrender key, no matter what experience you want to show to me. And in that, even this, that today, if you want to show me a complete day of unawareness, I'm okay with that as well, because everything is just an experience. So I operate from that space. And just before this, when I was simply growing my awareness, I used to talk to Mani and say, mujhse ho nahi raha hai. So can you please just help me? And then sure enough, he would help me in coming to more awareness. Help is always available. However, to understand that even when the help is available, this body, that is 1%, has a huge amount of free will. Has a huge amount of free will. 1% body with 1% free will. And that can totally be that through your free will, you say, I am going to continue to look outside. And so as the guidance is helping you to look within, or giving you more and more, more and more opportunities to look within, very easily through our free will, we can totally dictate and say, no, I still just want to look outside. I want to look at them as the creators of the problems in my life. It's a really fun thing to do, because it constantly puts us in the state of victim. When we put the finger outside and it's because of you and because of you and because of this and because of that, no, not looking at our energy, not looking within. And we are so used to looking outside, and we are so used to sitting in the complaint frequency, and we are so used to not recognizing our power. So that becomes the part of free will where we exercise the free will. Can you surrender the free will as well? Yes, you can. You can totally surrender the free will as well. And then the answers will come. And the minute to understand that surrender, when we speak of surrender, surrender is all about surrendering to the frequency of joy. It's about frequency of joy. So whatever you are doing, the guidance tells you to do something and you're doing it, but like, oh my God, guidance came today and I have to do it, because otherwise I wouldn't be doing it, but I have to do it. Now, no longer surrender. Even while you do something, you are doing it from the frequency of discontentment. You're doing it from the frequency of, oh God, this guidance is working against me. The same program, the universe is not playing in my favor, because it's asking me to do something that I don't want to do. That would not be surrender. That would lead back to aggression and to anger and to resentment, even towards guidance. You can actually have resentment towards guidance. Guidance will come and say, do this, and you'll be like, I don't want to do this, and you keep telling me to do this, and okay, fine, I'll do this because this is guidance. Well, in that moment, when you are sitting in the frequency of resentment and following guidance, what is it? Is it guidance, or is it just simply frequency of resentment? It is simply the frequency of resentment. It is simply the frequency of your anger. It is no longer guidance, even though the whole day you might just simply be following guidance and doing things as per guidance and call yourself surrendered. But if there is no joy in it, it is not surrender. So that is how we recognize that with surrender comes joyfulness, because the universe is playing in my favor. The guidance is coming to tell me so that the universe can play in my favor even more. And so if you knew that the universe is playing in your favor and you are taken care of through this guidance, even if you don't like particularly this particular guidance, what would your innermost feeling be? Your innermost emotion would be, I'm taken care of. You would be joyous about being taken care of, about the fact that the universe is playing in your favor. So remember that even as we move in surrender, suddenly the frequency can be this or that. So it's a game of constantly asking yourself, what am I feeling? If you're feeling angry even about guidance, the anger frequency has taken over. But yes, you can totally surrender to everything. You can surrender your free will, and it's so much fun. You think you surrendered the free will, now you can't do anything from your own accord, but you don't, whatever happens is so much more joy comes back to you, that you're like, it's so amazing to have the entire universe on your side. And it's so amazing to be playing that game. It is a game. On days you could totally be sitting in the frequency of resentment, and that too is okay. It just gives you different kinds of experiences. And that's why through awareness, we get this choice of moving our frequencies. It's just a choice. There's nothing that we are not moving, we are going into the wrong place, we are having wrong experiences. No, these are just choices. And in the body, we like some kinds of choices more than we like the other. We like being more in a joyous space rather than experiencing the hurt frequency. So in awareness, we get a choice that we can move into the joyful space rather than sitting in the hurt frequency. It's just a choice. It's just a frequency. And that's how we understand it. Does the core frequency ever finally changes? All the time? Oh my God, all the time. It changes. And, I talk about it so many different times in understanding that when you are unaware, let us say, and you are sitting in the frequency of sadness, and then somebody comes and tells you that, oh, you know what, you can shift your frequency, you can do this, you can do that, and you begin to shift your frequencies, and you go there, you experience that, and you come back and sit here. That's how it is. You go venture around, you're sitting in sadness, and you'll venture today through the awareness tools. You will venture today in the frequencies of joy. You'll go into the frequency of love, some surrender, and then you come and sit back in your frequency. But the more you venture out over there into these other frequencies through awareness, the more you do that, the more that becomes your home. As that becomes your home, will you stop going to other frequencies at all? No. Now you sit in awareness. Now you sit in surrender. Now you sit in joyfulness. Now you sit in masti. And yet, every once in a while, you now go and venture to these other places. Every once in a while, you will go experience lack. And then this time, you will come back through awareness, but you will come back home. Home has shifted. And then you'll go and venture into anger today, and tomorrow you might go into disappointment. However, so quickly the awareness comes back, because now that is your new home. You've shifted. That core frequency has shifted from sadness to abundance, has shifted to joy. But it doesn't mean that you will not play in other frequencies. It'll be that through awareness, you will quickly be able to see whatever you're playing in. And then at that point in time, the choice becomes available. And that it just happens as you keep doing more and more of this game of awareness. It's a game, but the more you play this game, the more expert you become at it. And then the playground changes. However, again, that is why I keep just, even when today, if I'm going to experience lack, I'm happy to experience lack, because it's just an experience. And I know that very quickly I might have my first response into lack, experience of lack, but very quickly, when the observation comes through, I'll be able to move myself to another frequency of my choice. I have that choice. I have that choice in awareness. Okay, I think we answered everybody's. All right, everyone. Let's see what comes up. So just taking a deep breath in and release. Relax completely. Completely. Observe if there's any tension in your body. And then simply in this moment, just relax that part of your body. Just relax. Observe if there's anything over here in the heart space. If you're feeling fears, any insecurities, any anxieties, any resentment, one or all of the above, just simply observe. Simply observe whatever is sitting over there. And in the first step, just simply to take a look at any outside actor, an actor or an event might come to mind, and take a look to see, is there a comparison? Is there a comparison? Is there a lack that you feel when you look at that actor? The actor could be any, the actor could be many. But today we simply look at where all we are constantly comparing ourselves, our journeys to somebody else's. Our belongings, our possessions, whatever we've accumulated, are we comparing to somebody else's? Good or bad, high or low, just comparison. So simply right now, coming into the place of awareness as to whether we still sit in comparison. And now, we've already talked about the guilt. So if somebody has less than us and we are experiencing the guilt, simply letting go. Guilt is a frequency. Guilt is an earthbound frequency. And so I am not of the earth frequencies anymore. I am not of the earth frequencies anymore. What do you even mean by that? Not of the earth frequencies. The awareness has carried us beyond earth. And so in your mind, in your heart, the earth frequency, we come to the launch pad of Om. So in your mind, in your heart, simply speak Om a few times. I am the frequency of Om. I am the frequency of Om. I am the frequency of Om. In that frequency space, no longer playing in duality, no longer playing in separation, no longer playing in comparison. And so, no longer playing in guilt. No longer playing in frustration. Releasing frustration. Releasing anger. Releasing resentment. And just by making the intent, I release in this moment, it is released. Just making the intent that I am the frequency of Om makes you the frequency of Om. Empty of these frequencies of duality. And now to think, whatever it is that you wished for, whatever it is that you wished for, if you got it all, if you had everything that you wished for, what would you feel? You received everything that you wished for. What would you feel? If the answer in your heart is happiness, joy, contentment, masti, if these are the answers in your heart, if you received everything that you wanted, then you would feel all of these. Then in this moment, taking a moment to simply laugh, because all of these that you would feel are frequencies. And it's just a frequency. And you can feel that frequency even in this moment, this very moment. Put out your hand and take energy from Meenal. I take energy from Meenal. I am Meenal. I am the frequency of joy, of contentment, of masti, of love and surrender. I play in complete faith. I play in abundance. I am the frequency of Meenal. I am Meenal. I am Meenal. And in this space, there is so much joy and laughter and abundance. Everything that you would feel if you had to go through the entire life looking for things. Instead of that, the path of ease and grace to simply be able to shift your frequency. And you've done so in just 1 minute. And you can do so at any point in time when separation and comparison comes to mind. You can simply understand those are the frequencies of the earth. And in this moment, we can release those frequencies. Feeling totally light, feeling totally beautiful. And as you look at all of the drama that you've been creating for yourself, I don't have this and I don't have that. And all was just a matter of frequency. And you bring a smile to your face. Ah, what an idiot. What a lovable idiot I am. What the most amazing idiot that I am. I'm the most awesome idiot that I am. And make that smile a little bit more and laugh at yourself. And laugh at your journey on this earth. Be able to laugh at it because it just is a play of frequencies. Are you feeling the laughter in your heart yet? If not, start. Start now by making some funny noises. Ha ha ha. 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 Make those funny noises and laugh. Laughter is the best medicine. But as you laugh at yourself and you laugh at this illusion, just simply being in the space, all is an illusion. And I choose love and laughter. Through the illusion, I choose love and laughter. If you're not able to laugh, tickle yourself. Find a way to laugh and bring yourself, because whatever is within is the only thing that is going to get reflected outside. So keep yourself in the space of love and laughter. Lots and lots of love to you. Om Mani, Om Mani, Om Mani.